anyone who knows English, right? So that's called plain text. So what is a cipher text? The message uh, which is in English, but still somebody who knows English also cannot understand unless he knows how to decipher it. That is called the cipher text, right? So we know that story. Right. This is the symmetric cipher model which we have seen on that day, and there are few important components here. One is the plain text, and obviously the other one is the cipher text, right? And the third one is the key. Fourth one is the encryption algorithm. Fifth one is the decryption algorithm. So these are the five important components of a symmetric cipher model. Now, when I spoke about these five components, I said two things: plain text, cipher text, encryption algorithm, decryption algorithm, and then key. Key is only one, right? That is called symmetric. The sender and the receiver side, they use the same key. That's why we call it a symmetric cipher model. It is also given another name as shared secret key cipher model, single key cipher model. You name it, but you should understand that there is only one key which is used by the person at the encryption side, and the same key is used by the person at the decryption side. That is what the thing we should know. All right. So what happens here? We have got a plain text, which is denoted as X in this screen. I'll use the pen. Okay. So your plain text is X. If your cipher text is Y. And how do you get the cipher text? Cipher text is received, or cipher text is created by two components. What are those? One is the X, which is the plain text. The other one is the key. These two are given to the encryption algorithm. Okay, the encryption algorithm could be AES or DES, RSA, any encryption algorithm. They are giving two parameters, two inputs. One is plain text, the other one is your key. These two are given as the input to the encryption algorithm, and the encryption algorithm produces the cipher text. This is one set, all right. And then this cipher text is transmitted over unsecure medium, secure medium. Let's not bother about this, but we should see that this cipher text is received by the receiver. That is what important. So once the receiver side receives the cipher text, he is supposed to deduce the plain text, or he's supposed to take the plain text out of the cipher text. So what is happening here? You will get the cipher plain text by giving two things. One is the key, the other one is your cipher text. These two are given as the input to the decryption algorithm. Okay, here it was encryption algorithm. If you see this is encryption algorithm. Here it is decryption algorithm. All right. And if you look at the key, it is same. Here also it is key. Here also it is K. Both are K. It is key. All right. So this is what your symmetric cipher model. Moving on. Yes, I have spoken about this. All right. So what happens when cryptanalyst? Who is the cryptanalyst? He could be a genuine person who tries to find out what the secret message is exchanged, or he could be an attacker. Okay, the cryptanalyst would always try to deduce the key and the plain text. Okay, because in many cases, not in many cases, in almost every case, if the key, if you are able to get the key, or if you are able to deduce the key, which means you are able to get the plain text out of the ciphertext, because the encryption algorithm is a open document in many cases, in almost all the cases. All right. So you have got your encryption algorithm, which is an open document. Now the key is the only entity which is secret here. Okay, that is why the key plays a major role in your encryption and decryption in your cryptography. So key has to be maintained in a very secret place. Okay, and the sender and the receiver side must exchange the key in a secure way. That is why if you look at this key is shared through the secure channel. Okay, the key cannot be given to the attacker's hand. Okay, it should be shared only between um, um, the correct entities, the appropriate people. That is what the secret key is all about. Okay. Moving on. So let's really get into the cryptography slowly. So far, we have spoken about some fundamentals, what is the key, plain text, and so on. When you talk about cryptography, this single slide is sufficient, which gives the overall characteristics of what cryptography is. Okay, the type of operation which are used for transforming the plain text to ciphertext are only two. One is substitution, the other one is transposition. Okay, shortly I'm going to have one or two slides where I will explain to you what happens in the case of substitution, what happens in the case of transposition. Okay, so these are the two operations which are available with your cryptography for transforming your plain text into ciphertext and vice versa. What's happening in the case of substitution? Very simple, sir. Any alphabet or any value in the plain text is replaced by another value to create the ciphertext. You got it? For example, A is replaced with C, B is replaced with D, C is replaced with E, for example. Okay. Now, every alphabet here which I have spoken is replaced by another alphabet. So this is substitution. Okay. What is transposition? Transposition is mixing up, jumbling up the things. For example, A B C D is written as B C A D or B D A C. Okay. The letters are placed in a different location, different places. That is called transposition. Please remember the substitution and transposition are the two operations of your cryptography, of your converting your plain text into ciphertext. Of course, the complexity in doing this substitution and transposition is really going to be bigger if you go for the standard algorithm. But fundamentally, two things: substitution, transposition. Okay, and what are the other things, other direction we can characterize or categorize the cryptographic algorithm is the number of keys used. Okay, one set is using single key. Okay, we call it as symmetric key cryptography or single key cryptography or secret key or conventional encryption. These all are denoting the same methodology. It uses same key for encryption, same key for decryption. I'll explain to you how this encryption decryption is working. Okay, on the other hand, okay, on the other hand, the sender and the receiver have to use different key. In other words, for encryption a key is used, the same key cannot be used for decryption, which means if you use the same key for decryption you will not be able to decrypt it properly, correctly, right? So you should use another key for decryption. So in that case you use at least two keys. Okay, we call it as asymmetric cryptography. It's not symmetric because encryption key is different from decryption key, so this is called asymmetric. Okay, or it is a two keyed crypto system, or very famous, it is known as public key cryptography or public key encryption. Okay, so our RSA algorithm and Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm, electric curve cryptography, they all use public key crypto system, one of the very interesting and powerful crypto system which you are going to learn in the cryptography subject. Okay, so these are the two variations on the number of keys used. Or in one case, same key is used for encryption and decryption. In the other case, other case, different keys are used for encryption and decryption. Okay. On the third one, how the plain text is processed. For example, the plain text is "Good morning, all." This is a plain text. Okay. How this plain text is processed, whether G, O, D, M, all these alphabets are processed separately to create the ciphertext. Okay, then it's going to be stream cipher. Now the other one is block cipher. Okay, good morning, all. So blocks are created and they are encrypted to create the ciphertext. This is called block cipher. Okay, so in the case of stream cipher, every alphabet, probably every bits or every bytes of information are encrypted as on the go. Okay, suppose good morning all is the input, G, O, D, M, O, R. These are separate alphabets which will be given as the input to your encryption algorithm, and it will create a stream. Okay, to create the ciphertext. Block cipher, on the other hand, takes a set of bytes. Okay, set of bytes or set of bits, encrypt it. Then set of bits or set of bytes, encrypt it, and so on. Okay, so these are the different um, ways by which plain cipher text are created. Okay, the plain text are processed. They are block cipher and stream cipher. So in a nutshell, there are three things we have spoken here, which categorizes our encryption decryption algorithm. One is the type of operations. Is it using substitution or transposition? But all the modern algorithm they use substitution and transposition combination. Second is the number of keys used. Are we using going for a symmetric key or a single key or conventional encryption or shared the asymmetric key or public key crypto system or two key crypto system? These are the two categories. The third one is how the plain text is processed. Is it block cipher or it is stream cipher? This also categorizes our encryption algorithms into different categories. Moving on, I said I'll speak to you about substitution cipher. All right. So the very famous Caesar cipher is a classical encryption algorithm, the example of substitution cipher. All right. So I'll tell you what's happening in the case of substitution cipher. Okay. In this case of substitution cipher, every of the alphabet in the input is replaced by a corresponding another alphabet. In other words, every single alphabet is replaced by another alphabet. To give you more clarity, for instance, if I look at the right hand side, this is your decoder ring of Caesar cipher. Okay, it can be even bought in the market. Okay, now it uses key 7. Okay, I'm not able to highlight it. Yeah, it's here. It uses key number 7. Okay, which means a character, we have got alphabet called A. Let me say this is your this ring could be your input, maybe the plain text, and this ring will give you the cipher text. Okay, so in that case, every of your input will be replaced by the corresponding alphabet in this cipher ring. Okay, A will always be replaced by H. B is always replaced by I. C is always replaced by J, and so on. Okay, same way Z is always replaced by G. Whenever in your input text this particular alphabet appears, it will be replaced by the corresponding alphabet in the cipher text. Very simple. Okay, so I have given the plain text as Karna University. So shall we attempt to find out the plain cipher text? So let me wait for the answer. You can type in the chat box. It's better if you unmute and speak the answer. So if I take the Karna University as the plain text, using this ring, what will be the cipher text? So I'll tell you how we are going to do that. Take the case of K, find out where K is in the inner ring. Okay, K is here. The corresponding letter is R. So K will be replaced by R. Okay. Then A. Go to this ring. A is here. A will be replaced by H. All right. Then R. That is R. J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. R will be replaced by Y. All right. So like this, we have to proceed. So shall I give you 1 minute so that you can find out what is the corresponding cipher text? Those who are able to find it out, please unmute and give your answer so that I can write it on screen. So please go ahead. A small exercise so that you can do it. Simple one. I'll try to write it in parallel in a notebook here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Sir, few of it are waiting.
Enapa?
The few of it are waiting, sir.
I'm sorry, I don't get you.
Sir, many are waiting for joining the
Oh,
catch.
okay, okay. Just let me see that. Mm, all right. So I have permitted. You have written the answer. Let me copy that, as I'm very lazy to do this decryption. H B U F H P U P C L Y Z Q A F. All right, that's great. All right, so your friends have typed in the ciphertext in the chat box. You can verify whether that's right. All right, so this is the blind way of doing the substitution cipher using the Caesar cipher. But Caesar cipher normally it uses the key as 3 because it's again somebody is attempting mm, view all. All right. All right. So now we have. Oh, okay. Friends, please be on time from tomorrow. It's my appeal. Okay. All right. So this is our Caesar cipher. I have just said in the classical Caesar cipher, the key which is used is 3. Okay. Uh, Key is normally denoted by K. Key is 3. What is that, sir? Key is 3. All right. So let me use this formula which I have written on the screen to explain to you mathematically or scientifically or technically what a Caesar cipher is. Okay. C stands for ciphertext. Okay. So this is the simple formula which is used by Caesar cipher for encryption, and this is for decryption. Okay. How do you get the ciphertext? So ciphertext will be created by doing encryption. What are the input for the encryption? Plain text and key. Okay, so plain text and key will be given as the parameter to the encryption algorithm to get the ciphertext. Okay, now you got the key, you got the plain text, you got the encryption algorithm to create the ciphertext. Okay, now what this function is doing in Caesar cipher, what is this E of k comma p going to do? It's we're going to do the very simple thing. It's going to do this p plus k mod 26. Okay, what is this, sir? P plus k mod 26. All right, so what happens when you are implementing the Caesar cipher in programmatically? Every of the alphabet in English will be given a number. For example, A is given 1, B is given 2. Okay, C will be assigned 3. I'm sorry, I'm using mouse to write this. It's not coming properly. So D is given 4, like that. Okay, E is given 5 and so on. So eventually you will get Z will be given 26. Okay, so every of the alphabet in English is assigned a number, whole number. Okay, starting from 1 to 26, first step. Now what is happening in the case of encryption using Caesar cipher? Now you can easily understand. Plain text plus k mod 26. I have said Caesar cipher is using the k as 3. Okay, key value as 3. So how a number A will be encrypted? I'll write the formula. You will get the ciphertext like this. C is equal to, what is plain text? A. What is A value? It is 1. 1 plus, what is k? K is 3. So 1 plus 3 and mod 26. I'll just say m. Okay, m 26. 1 plus 3 mod 26 is 4. What is 4? D. So if your input is A, if your plain text is A, your ciphertext will be D. This is how your Caesar cipher is working. Isn't it very simple? Yeah, this is the simplest algorithm. Every of the alphabet is taken, it is added with 3. So A is replaced with D, B is replaced with E, C is replaced with F, and so on. Okay. Why should we have mod 26? That should be the question. Okay. For that, let me take the case of Z. Okay, Z has to be encrypted. So Z is 26. So 26 plus 3, 29. Do we have alphabet for 29? No. So what is going to happen after 26? 27th will be the first one. It's going to wrap around. That's the reason we are using the mod 26. So 29 mod 26 is 3. Yes, 29 mod 26 is 3. So what is 3? It is Z. C. Okay. So Z will be replaced with C in the cipher text. So A is replaced with D, B is replaced with E, C is replaced with F, and so on. And then after that, you will wrap around. Okay. And Z will be replaced with C, Y is replaced with B, X is replaced with A. Okay. Um, W, yeah, W is replaced with Z. Okay. So this is what happening in the case of encryption. Now, don't you think decryption is very easy? How are we going to do? For decryption, instead of this plus, you go for minus. Instead of the plain text, you go for cipher text. Key remains same. In Caesar cipher, being a classical encryption algorithm, which uses symmetry key algorithm for encryption and decryption. So let's try to do the reverse of it. So how are we going to decrypt this value D? So D is having a value called 4. So what's the formula? 4 minus 3 mod 26. 4 minus 3 mod 26 is 1 mod 26, which is 1. 1 mod 26 is 1, 1 is A. So D will be decrypted as A. This is how decryption is happening in the case of Caesar cipher. So please remember this simple formula, which is for Caesar cipher. Okay, so you can easily implement it in your C or C++, any programming language. You can easily do that. Formula is very simple. You will get the cipher text C by adding the plain text with the key taking modulus 26. All right. In case you are assigning the value A as 0, okay, B as 1, C is 2, then you will end up in getting Z will be replaced with 25. In that case, it should be mod 25. Please remember that. All right. So otherwise, it's going to be same. So it's better you remember this. Plain text plus the key value mod 26 will give you the cipher text, and doing the reverse will give you the plain text. Okay. So instead of encryption, you will have the decryption. Key will be same. Instead of plain text, you'll have the cipher text, so that you will get the plain text as the output here. You will get the cipher text during the encryption process, right? So if any of the input is given, you have to, you will be able to find out the cipher text. All right. So what could be the question asked here? Just for instance, using Caesar cipher, you may be asked to encrypt a plain text. The plain text could be Karna University, welcome all, happy new year, anything, computer science and engineering. Okay, any standard statement or any valid statement, can be given as the input. You'll be asked to find out the cipher text. Very simple one. Okay, if the hint is given as a Caesar cipher, you should not blink. Which will be the key value? Key will be 3, because by default Caesar cipher uses the key 3. But I would recommend you to please read and find out why it is called as Caesar cipher. You will really be taken into very interesting historical events which has happened during the time of Julius Caesar. Um, what's happening in the case of battlefield, everything will be brought to your eyes. So I encourage you to please read about the first place where Caesar cipher was used by Julius Caesar, and what are the advantage, how he could succeed in many things. All right, it's a classical one. All right. So Caesar cipher, he used the key as 3. All right. Suddenly a question can be asked like this: using Caesar cipher, find out the cipher text, use the key as 25. Is it possible? Yes, it can be given. All right. So key size can be 1. It cannot be 0, because if the key size is 0, your plain text and cipher text will be same. Okay. So keys can be 1 or 2 or 3 up to, it can be up to 25, because once it becomes 26, again it becomes wraps around. Okay. So key can be 25 maximum. All right. So key can be given to you. You will be asked to find out the cipher text. It's all simple, sir. Plain text is given. The key is given to you. So you will add these to find out the corresponding alphabet in English, and you will write it as the ciphertext. Story is over. What's the other side? The other side is the decryption. Okay, there are two things. One is decryption, the other one is cryptanalysis. Decryption is the straightforward way. What is straightforward way? The person who is doing the decryption is having the key. Okay, that is called decryption. What is cryptanalysis? Blindly, the person who is trying to do the decryption without having the key. Okay. Sometimes it could be attacking, sometimes it could be to support the nation. Okay, cryptanalysis. All right. What is the case of decryption? Decryption is again a very simple, straightforward method. You know the key. So, what could be the question? You all have found the encryption for Karuna University using the key size 7. Okay, so I may be giving you the input like this: RHYBUFH and BUPCLYZQAF. You have found the answer as the ciphertext for Karuna University using the Caesar ring. Okay, if this is the ciphertext and the key is also 7, you will be asked to find out the plain text. Very simple. Subtract 7 from every of these value, you will get the plain text. It's quite simple. Now, the challenging portion here is, without knowing the key, how are you going to deduce the plain text? Okay, is the question. That is called attack. Okay, that is in decent, we call it as cryptanalysis. All right. So in the case of Caesar cipher, is it very strong? Unfortunately, no, sir. It is not very strong. Why? Because all you need is to find out maximum of 25 times. What is the 25 times? Because the key could be either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 up to 25. So only 25 keys are available. The key size is only 25. Okay. It could be any statement. If you are using the Caesar cipher, okay, if you are not having any compression or encoding, it's going to be only plain text encryption. Then Caesar cipher has got maximum of 25 as the key. So the best case is, even in the first key, you'll be able to find out. The worst case is in 25th attempt, you'll be able to find the answer. Okay, so that is called brute force attack. Technically, we say trying out all possible keys. Okay, trying out all possible keys to find out the plain text from the given ciphertext is brute force attack. And your Caesar cipher is in no doubt that it is vulnerable to brute force attack, because the key size is very, very small, only 25. All right. So if I give you um, a random text, will you be able to find out the plain text? Okay. So um, I'll tell you. mm, okay. So I just type in the chat box on ciphertext. You have to find out the plain text using the brute force attack. All right. Mm, Um, so can you find out the corresponding plain text? As soon as I give the plain text quickly, we'll continue. Yeah, are you trying? Somebody, can you please respond? Are you trying?
I think it's +1, sir.
Yeah. So what's the answer? You got it, Brighton.
Welcome, I
What's
guess.
the? Yeah, that's great. So can you explain how you tried that? Is it brute force or it's a blind one?
I just when I first tried one, when I saw WEL, and then I got,
Okay,
okay, this is the key. Okay, then I welcome.
right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Brighton, for the response. So now this small exercise has revealed certain things to us. Okay. One is because I was on the spot trying to find the ciphertext to give you as the assignment or work. So that should have given you a clue that the key size is not going to be something very bigger. It's going to be somewhere one or two or three small number because you know about me that I'm not very good at mathematics. Um, so I'm not going to add bigger number and take the modulus value, this and that. Okay, that should be one clue. Second one is very important. What Brighton has just said, that he was able to deduce two, three alphabets, right? W, E, L. Once he was able to deduce that, he could blindly guess that the remaining is also going to be welcome. This gives us a revelation that when are you going to stop doing your brute force attack? Probably I'll put it in another way. When you're doing the brute force attack, when you're automating this brute force attack, that you expect a machine to do this decryption algorithm for you without knowing the key, it will try all the possible keys. Okay, so initially it will go for one, it will go for two, and then three, and so on. It will go all the 25. Now the point is, when do you think the algorithm should stop doing this calculation? Hope you got my question. All right, because your plain text is going to be welcome here. Okay, and when you use the key one, you got the answer as welcome. All right, how the system is going to stop doing the calculation? Is it going to check all the 26? No. So when you are doing this brute force attack kind of things, you can comfortably stop your routine, or you can comfortably exit your loop when you are able to find some legible English words. Okay, that is going to be the key. He has just said, once I say WEL, it could be welcome. Okay, it has a meaning, and he stopped finding out the remaining remaining keys. Okay, so brute force attack is good, but you should have a very clear mechanism that when should you stop doing this calculation. All right, so we have just spoken about the Caesar cipher, classical Caesar cipher, and we also have learned little bit of that. Though we have a long way to go. mm, Let me see whether I can talk little bit about the feastal structure before I wind this up. All right. Okay, the second one is the transposition. So we have spoken about substitution cipher and the transposition cipher. For the transposition cipher, the classical example is where rail fence cipher. Rail fence cipher is probably like a children's game. You see, you got your original message as hello world. So what's happening in the case of rail fence cipher? The same hello world is written in different lines. For example, H, E, L, L, O, W, O, R, L, T. Remaining could be X, X. Okay, this is one way. So what will be the ciphertext here? H, L, O, D, E, O, R, X, L, W, L, X. This is one way to create the ciphertext. Okay, of course these two are different because they are written in different way. But this is what happening in the case of transposition. As I said, the alphabets will be placed in different places. They are not going to be in the actual order. They are going to take their own order. Can I randomly place these alphabets in multiple places? You can do that, but you cannot do the reverse of encryption. You cannot do the decryption because there should be a systematic way of placing these alphabets in its position so that the receiver will be able to do the reverse of it to get the original text. Otherwise, if you put the first character into the seventh place, seventh to third, and the second one to fourth, and randomly if you place the encryption, the ciphertext will be really great, but you will not be able to decrypt it because there is no standard procedure followed for doing the decryption. Okay. Yes, it is correct that the mixing of these alphabets into different places is very, very crucial, but it also should follow a specific order. Okay, now you see here every of the alphabet is placed like this H, E, L, L, O, then some space is left, and then world is written. Okay, and in the reverse way, this has to be written in the same way. Okay, H has to be written, then O, then R. In the next line, we should write E, L, O, L, and then LWD has to be written so that if you read in this order, you will be able to read it as a plain text. Okay, here no character is substituted. This is only placed in different place. This is called transposition cipher. All right, just want to give you a clue that substitution cipher and transposition ciphers, they all are vulnerable to some statistical attack. What is that, the statistical analysis and attack? I'll tell you. If you look at the English word, every of the English word will have at least one vowel. Okay, every, if not all, majority of the word will have A or E, I, O, U. Okay, these letters are going to appear very, very often in every of the word. All right. So when you are doing your transposition cipher, you will look for that particular alphabets. How many are appearing? Where are they appearing? That will give you a clue. If you go for a substitution cipher, which character is appearing often in the substitution cipher, that may be equivalent to A or E or I or O or U. Okay, by doing the statistical analysis, you will be able to find out the plain text and then possibly the key also. Okay, so there are multiple different kinds of attacks are also available. Probably we'll find another slot to speak more about the kind of attack like timing attack and XYZ and cryptography. That will be an interesting topic for discussion. All right, so we have spoken about the substitution and transposition cipher as a whole today. I plan to go for the block cipher, stream cipher, and feastal structure. We'll see whether we can take it up in the next class. So I stop sharing here.